It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends it, yes! Caught! Touchdown! They did it!
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker, and you can join us on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line, 435-339-0321. And, react to what happened over the weekend. College football, high school football, the NFL. A lot to get through. We spent most of the last hour, recapping Utah State's loss at Vanderbilt and just trying to make sense of what happened on offense and on defense. We didn't leave out special teams.
Yeah, we didn't leave out special teams. There was some special stuff about it, things that almost went disaster. It's funny, the worst part about special teams didn't even count. That was the crazy thing about it. The worst play on special teams all night didn't even count.
Yeah, didn't matter.
So that's a crazy thing. Of course, I don't know, were you listening to 106.9 The Fan throughout the day? Because I'm curious if anybody did, how much of that time was spent whining about the NFL's overtime format? Because we had a tie.
There was a lot.
And anytime there's a tie,
yes,
people want to come out with their new gimmick for how to make overtime better. And they all make it worse, like way worse, infinitely worse. Field goal shootouts, going over to the college format, which is also gotten worse because it's massively gimmicky. Like it just annoys me the lack of emotional maturity from football fans to be okay with a tie, and that they have to resort to the most desperate gimmicks. Just like, somebody please win. Two teams for 70 minutes have not made a game-winning play, but I guess one of them deserves to win, even though nobody's made a deserving play.
Yeah, we don't like ties in America.
Yeah, like I said, they're not emotionally mature enough to handle a tie. But it's like, and I'll stand on this hill, and I'll die on this hill, that the only overtime formats that are good are ones where you just add more time to the clock and keep playing. Don't add gimmicks. Don't, sudden death I think works in like soccer and hockey. Because with that, there's back and forth possession, and it's exciting, and it's like, okay, it's you keep playing until next score wins, but it's a natural progression. Sudden death in football does not work because it's just a completely different kind of sport.
Right.
And it'd be like doing sudden death in baseball. It's like you can't do it in baseball either. So in baseball, you add another inning, throwing the player on second base, that's a gimmick. Throw that out. Football, add 10, maybe 15. I felt like 10 minutes was too short because the Cowboys and Packers got possessions yesterday, but the Packers, they didn't get to play the same way they normally would. If they got to play the way they normally would, they might have scored a touchdown. Maybe. I don't know if they would have, but they might have. So you almost feel like they should have had more time because they weren't able to play normally. Ideally you just give them, honestly, my hot take is in the NFL, regular season ties at the end of regulation. Don't even go to overtime.
No overtimes, period?
Regular season tie, because the problem with football overtime, the reason they have these gimmicks is it's so much more taxing to play overtime in football. So, it's the reason they have those gimmicks. It's why they had the sudden death to begin with, because in the NFL, you don't want to play overtime because it's bad for everybody. Even the winners lose because of just that extra, effort you have to put in.
Right, extra miles on the body.
Yeah, where with a full contact sport like football, it's just worse. It's like, having to go extra rounds in boxing. It's just that much worse for you. So honestly, regular season NFL, no ties. No overtime. If you can't win in 60 minutes, take your tie, sit down, shut up, you deserve it. In the playoffs, 15-minute overtime period, go till the time's up. Whoever has the most points at the end wins. If you have the same amount of points, 15 more minutes on the clock. Keep going. And because that's playing football. If you can't win football by playing football, you don't deserve to win. Keep going. You earned it.
Keep going. So, and then it's just whatever the score is when that finally that clock runs out.
Yeah, when the 15 minutes goes out. And if you want to say 10 minutes for overtime, again, it might be slightly too short, but whatever. I'm not too picky. Maybe make it 12 minutes. Just add more time on the clock. That's the way overtime should be in basically every sport. Overtime is add more time. Or if it's baseball, an inning. Whatever your increment of time is. And in tennis, add another set, or another game. Like, it's just you play more of your sport. And like basketball has the best overtime. Why? Because you just play more basketball.
You just keep adding time.
In baseball, you just play more baseball. They kind of did the gimmick with the guy on second base, and that's not the worst thing because it's just like accelerated baseball. You're just making it a little easier to score. But it's not like you're saying, all right, every batter starts with a 2-0 count. Like that would be a weird
that
gimmick.
Would be
that would be kind of crazy. But like, just play more of your sport, and whoever is better at the sport gets to win. What a concept! Whoever's better at the sport you're playing gets to win.
So why end it at the end of regulation in the regular season?
Just because, again, it's so taxing. Like you generally want to avoid overtime. Like, I mean, if you want to just do the one overtime period, it's not my body that's getting beat up. But or maybe just you end it at one overtime because that's the way we do it in the regular season. In the playoffs, you do go to multiple overtimes,
right? Because you can't have a tie.
Yeah, because I think it's only ever happened once, to my knowledge, where they've gone to double overtime in the NFL. But yeah, just play more of your sport. If getting overtime done so quickly is so important, then just cut out overtime to begin with. Because if you can't play good overtime, don't play it at all. Play overtime, play the full period, and whoever has the most points, they get to win. And I think that's the way it should be.
7994 weighing in on overtimes, saying hockey overtime goes to a 3-on-3 with a shootout after 5 minutes of play. If still tied during the regular season, football could go to 7-on-7. Not.
Yeah, and hockey's a little weird. And going to 3-on-3 is like, it goes into a bit of a gimmick, but it's like, it's still hockey. There's just fewer players. It's kind of like with the baseball thing with putting the guy on second base. You're just making it easier to score. And so in that sense,
find the ultimate or get to your ultimate conclusion quicker.
Yeah, but it's like you still have to play the sport. Baseball, it's still, balls and strikes, swinging at that. So it's still baseball, but maybe slightly accelerated. Hockey, you're getting a little closer to gimmick, and especially when you go to like the shootout. But that doesn't impact the points as much. Really, an overtime win. I think if you win in a shootout, it's still the same if you won in overtime because you get like 2 points for the overtime win, 1 for the overtime loss. But even then, I think they should just go to a tie. If they I don't think you should go to a shootout. Honestly, shootouts should be avoided in both hockey and soccer if you're talking pure, overtime. But in the end, sometimes you're just really tired and you got to figure out. And so and the thing is, shootouts in soccer are exciting. Shootouts in hockey are exciting. College overtime is exciting. The 2-point conversions are exciting. It's not to say that these other formats and these gimmicks people come up with aren't exciting. But if you're talking about fair and ideal overtime, it's just play more of your sport. Keep going until somebody proves they're better within the allotted amount of time.
Well, since we're talking about the NFL, let's just add a few other things here of notes from the NFL weekend that was. Jalen Royals saw the field for the Kansas City Chiefs. He was used in a return and 30 yards on a kick return. Good to see him on the field and added positive yards for the Chiefs.
Yeah, and so you'd hope he'd be able to also get in on offense. They did get Xavier Worthy back. So that's something that'll make it a little harder for him to break through. And like I was worried, other receivers have kind of started to establish themselves in the wide receiver rotation ahead of him. That's what I was worried about with this injury. That hopefully over the course of the season, he'll be able to work his way in to that rotation, be part of that by the end of the season, at least be getting somewhat consistent targets, even if it's only 1 or 2 or 3 in a game. At least be getting some consistent targets, at least getting on the field, I guess, to start with, and then work on getting targets from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. So good to see him get on and take the field. Yeah. Well, I guess I should have done this first, but circling back to the Packers and Cowboys, Jordan Love was fantastic.
Yeah, he was.
He
pretty
was
good.
fantastic. Now, the Packers' defense was a little bit to be desired.
Was not. Nobody's defense in that
Yeah,
game
that's
was
true.
good.
Nobody wanted to tackle or take away passing lanes. But Jordan Love he made all the right throws, 3 touchdowns all to a former Mountain West player, Romeo Doubs, but 337 yards passing, and then 3 yards on the ground for 3 attempts for 28 yards for Jordan Love. So he played great for the Packers in a tie ball game.
Yeah, he did.
But he looked very solid.
He did everything that he could to get that win. The defense did not. Neither team's defense did, because Dak Prescott did pretty darn good for his team too.
Yes, he did.
Even though they're missing CeeDee Lamb. Going back to our talk about OT 1623, saying just tuned in. Here's my take. Still have the 10-minute OT, but if still tied after that, adapt 2-point conversion tries just like college, or completely adapt college rules, but start at the 50 instead of the 25. Just get a winner. See, that gets back to that's a gimmick. That's not football. College football does not determine a winner by playing football. They do a gimmick.
Yeah.
And if you can't win by playing football, don't even go to overtime. Play football, which includes
offense and defense.
Offense and defense and field position. Play the game of football. And if you can't play the game of football to get a win, don't award somebody the win, because they don't deserve it.
One other former Aggie who was in action over the weekend, Bobby Wagner for the Washington Commanders. Unfortunately, the Commanders lose that one and got within a touchdown, but Atlanta wins that one 34-27. But not for lack of effort from Bobby Wagner, who again led his team in tackles, 10 total tackles, 4 solo, 1 tackle for loss, as he continues to defy age. Bobby Wagner continues to compete at a very, very high level in the NFL.
Quietly becoming a Commanders fan just because of Bobby Wagner. Same way I'm becoming a bit of a Packers fan, both because of Jordan Love and because my brother's a Packers fan as well.
Yes, 7994. Jordan Love also had a key fumble that led to points before the half. That play was a key turning point. I'm glad he shook it off and kept the offense together.
And Packers' own special teams gave up a rare defensive 2-point conversion where they let their PAT get blocked and Cowboys returned it the whole way for 2, which is a rare play. I've not seen that in a while. Heck, I didn't even see it because I didn't even start watching the game until the second half because I was busy doing some other stuff. So I saw the exciting second half.
Yeah. It was a pretty quiet, pretty wild weekend in the NFL. Bears and Raiders, came down to the wire, 25-24, 1-point game, deciding that one. Jaguars and 49ers decided within 5. Jaguars got the win on the road. That was the 49ers' first loss. But the Jaguars quietly, pretty solid season so far, 3-1 on the year. We had a couple other games that were close, fun, exciting, well-fought contests. There were a few blowouts. There were a few more blowouts this week than there were the week previous.
Yeah, the poor Titans.
But there were still some pretty fun, very tight games.
Yeah, I did enjoy my Patriots, going 42-13 up on the Panthers. That was pretty enjoyable. Nice seeing my Patriots actually playing good, especially on defense. And Drake May having really light work. Barely had to even throw the ball, but did well when he did 14 of 17. So.
Yes. And he's having a very solid season.
Yeah, he is. I was really hoping for that. Like, he's not been as good as I hoped. He still had some pretty rough moments, but new offensive coordinator, give him some actual weapons on offense, like some people to throw to. Stephon Diggs, this was kind of his breakout game, but he's had some guys to at least kind of throw the ball to and get involved in the offense. And then they're working on getting some running backs. That hasn't gone as smoothly as I think they wanted to, but still all right.
Yeah. Philadelphia and Tampa. Philadelphia looked like they were in firm control of the game. Great first half, but give it to Tampa for making it interesting. But ultimately, Philly comes away with the win, 31-25. And then former Utah bred and born Jackson Dart from the state of Utah finally gets the start for the Giants and leads them to a win against the previously undefeated Chargers in New York, 21-18.
Yeah, and getting a win over the legendary, and at least according to one certain Fox radio host, the greatest football coach of all time. Unironically, Colin Cowherd believes Jim Harbaugh is the greatest football coach of all time.
Right.
That is an appallingly bad take.
Yeah.
Like I don't even understand.
His resume doesn't stack up to a lot of other guys.
But it's because he coaches the LA Chargers.
Yes.
That's why.
We got Monday Night Football, one game that's already just started with the Jets and the Dolphins. And then later on tonight,
that started?
Bengals are at the Broncos. We have a doubleheader tonight on Monday Night Football.
That's the Sucky Bowl, Jets and Dolphins. The 0-3.
Yeah, somebody has to lose.
Somebody is going to walk away, not win this anymore. I want how do you say the last name? I have him on like 3 fantasy teams. Devon Achane, the running back for the Dolphins. I still haven't figured out how to say his name, but he's been in the league for like 3 years. I need him to get a lot of carries and yards for my fantasy team.
All right, well, let's take a timeout here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, let's get into what happened in the Mountain West, the scoreboard from the high school schedule on Friday, and the Old Grist Mill bread and butter play of the game from Friday night between the Skyview Bobcats and the Ridgeline Riverhawks. If you were listening to the game, if you were watching the game, if you recall what the play was, give us a call during the break, 435-994-8326. What was the Old Grist Mill bread and butter play of the game from the Skyview versus Ridgeline game, football game on Friday night? 435-994-8326. First person to correctly identify it gets 4 loaves of free bread from the Old Grist Mill.
Hi, this is Robbie with LSS Insurance. If you're about to turn 65, the Medicare phone calls, mailers, and emails can be unreal. Out-of-market telemarketers simply do not understand Utah, Idaho, or your individual situation. We have real answers and real solutions with local help. At LSS Insurance, we are your health insurance specialists. Call us 752-9493. Having local help makes all the difference, and there's no cost to you. Call 752-9493 or visit LSSINS.com.
Need a great deal near USU? Mention Aggie 79 and score a room at the Bomb Hotel for just $79. Enjoy charming, homey hospitality in downtown Logan. You'll love the clean, spacious rooms and friendly, attentive staff. Take advantage of free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and a seasonal outdoor pool. At that price, it can't be beat. $79 rooms with Aggie 79 at the Bomb Hotel. Value every day of the week. Call 435-752-5220. That's 752-5220.
From small homes to large businesses, Mountain Valley Heating and Air has you covered. Their team specializes in both residential and commercial services. When you choose Mountain Valley, you're choosing a full team ready to handle every detail, every time, so you and your business can always feel the love. Tune-ups, installations, or emergency service, whatever you need, we're here. Feel the love with Mountain Valley Heating and Air. That's mtnvalleyhvac.com.
When grid failures and severe weather cause power outages, your business might take a hit, or at home, you could lose your refrigerated food storage. Generac Standby Power Solutions help ensure an uninterrupted power supply. Generac is the #1 brand of standby generators. Get yours today from Golden Spike Electric, your trusted source for safety and security. Golden Spike Electric, powering your peace of mind. Online at gsegenerators.com or call 257-3016. They also service other models.
They never could play it, but they sure can talk about it. Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker on the Full Court Press.
This year, Mountain Valley Heating and Air Conditioning donated 5 full HVAC systems to local families in need. Here's the thing. There were over 60 nominations, so the need is real out there. So they're hosting a dinner event to make it possible to help even more families. And with your support, Mountain Valley hopes to provide 5 to 10 more systems in 2026. It's the Feel the Love charity dinner and silent auction hosted by Mountain Valley Heating and Air Conditioning. Get more details on their website, mtnvalleyhvac.com. That's mtnvalleyhvac.com. Let's go to our Young Power Sports of Logan text line. Jason, I believe it's pronounced Ichan.
I think that's what I was looking up as well. And yeah, Achan or Ichan. One of those two.
Achan.
Devon Achan. So yeah. Yeah, like I said, I've had him on like 2 or 3 different fantasy teams. It's kind of embarrassing. I make fun of my brother for like, he'll like have somebody, he'll say it's, he'll use their first initial because that's what it always is on fantasy, his first initial. It's like, you don't know the guy's full name, but it's like, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. So it's like, I don't know if I'm all that much better in that case, not knowing. And it happens a lot of times where it's like, I learned to spell people's names. Like we were doing this last week with Pavia. I was saying his name wrong an entire weekend.
True.
And even by the end of the week, after we've been told how it was, I was still saying it wrong. That's just the way it goes. Names are just tricky. And especially when you think it's one way and it looks obvious, and then it turns out it's another way.
Reminder, if you want a chance to win some free bread from the Old Grist Mill, call us and tell us what the Old Grist Mill bread and butter play of the game was in the Skyview football broadcast on Friday when they played the Ridgeline Riverhawks. Call us at 435-994-8326.
Nobody calls in means I get it, right?
I don't know if it works that way, Jason. But let's go through the scoreboard while we wait for that call. Let's start out in 3A. Logan High Grizzlies made the longest trek of anybody to play a football game, and they came back pretty happy.
Yeah, great game. This is kind of the way I was hoping things to go because, like, once Logan really got into the heat of their schedule, I assume that they are going to start having some pretty good performances because they have the skill on this team to be a good football team. I think they just struggle with some of these teams that just, when you have a bigger school, you can get some bigger kids, maybe have some more resources. These, Logan's put in the work to be able to go toe-to-toe with some of those schools, but just they're young, need to develop some. And so that's just something that they are, as a program, working on. But once you get in, and this is why you move down to 3A. It's why, despite some of the travel, it made sense for a lot of these kids because they're playing teams where once you match up size for size, the skill of the Grizzlies comes out, and you see how good of a football team they can be when they're playing teams and schools of similar size. And with Logan, their offense and defense came out to play, ran the ball well, threw the ball well, generally were protecting the ball, and they come out with a 31-10 win is pretty much what I was hoping. I know it's not what I predicted in pick 6, but I was very confident the Grizzlies were going to get a win in this one, despite it being away from home for the first time for them, and a long ways from home at that.
Yeah, good win, comfortable win. Good to get something in the win column for the Grizzlies. There weren't very many close games on Friday.
We've started to get away from close games, unfortunately.
Yeah, Ridgeline beat up on Skyview 60-26. Green Canyon beating up on Bear River 35-0. And talking about injured quarterbacks, the Bear River quarterback got hurt late in that one. Not sure about his availability for this week. Hope he's okay. Then Mountain Crest at Deseret Peak, as everybody has done against Deseret Peak, winning 77-0. Shutting them out. So, yeah, unfortunately for the Golden Eagles, it's just the struggle bus is real for them.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that with Westside a little bit last year where maybe not to the same degree, but new schools, it can be a struggle.
But this year, Deseret Peak fans hold some solace. In fact, if you see what happened to Westfield last year and how they're doing this year, Westfield is a very solid team in 5A right now.
Yeah, so it gets in development with these kids. There's a lot of underclassmen. I think most of the seniors ended up going to or staying because they took 2 schools and made a third. And so I think with Deseret Peak, they'll be fine in the future. It's just, it's like Logan the last couple of years. It might be rough, but they'll get things going down the line. And a lot of these kids will have some time to develop and get better.
A couple other scores of note. Box Elder beating up on Bonneville 60-27. Westside beat Declo 20-8. It's an interesting score there because those two teams have faced each other in the state championship a number of different times. So always good for Westside to get a good win by a good margin against Declo. Malad beat Soda Springs 21-6, and Rich beating Bear Lake 34-21. So Preston had a bye. They did not play this last week. But besides the high school games that took place, they've also updated the high school RPI here recently. And so it's not a surprise to see Ridgeline still on top. They are the number one team in 4A by a good margin. And one of the top teams in the state, regardless of classification. They remain undefeated. They are at number 1. Crimson Cliffs at number 2. Snow Canyon right on their heels at number 3. The difference between Crimson Cliffs and Snow Canyon is like you have to go.
If you go to the third decimal place, it's .005 is your difference.
Yes.
Literally a win or a loss either way is separating is heck much less than a win or a loss, to be honest. If your opponent's opponent won a game instead of lost, that would probably flip the script there.
So they're very, very close, neck and neck. Crimson Cliff 6-1, Snow Canyon 5-2, Pineview number 4, then Stansbury, the next team out of Region 11, coming in at number 5. Skyview at number 7, Green Canyon at number 10, Mountain Crest at 12, Bear River coming in at number 18.
And we're to the point where we're settling in where there may not be a ton of moving in either direction. Like, obviously, if a team like loses 3 straight games, that's going to drastically change things. But I think most teams are pretty much going to settle in where they're going to be. Skyview is going to be battling for a home field game. Ridgeline's going to get one unless they absolutely collapse.
Get a bye.
They're going to get a bye. They're likely to be the number 1 seed unless things go really weird from this point on. And, you know, like I said, Skyview, Mountain Crest. Where's the line for a home field game?
See, that's what I'm not sure, because there's 27 teams. I don't know if the bottom 2, sometimes the bottom 3 won't participate in the playoffs. They show some mercy.
Yeah.
Force them to travel all over the state just to get pummeled one more time. But I don't know where that line is this year. I'll have to double check on that, because there's some question with Green Canyon or Mountain Crest. Are they in that kind of fringe on the line there, whether they host a game or they have to travel in the first round? And then at 3A, Logan coming in at number 9 in the 3A standings. And just by the way, in 5A, Box Hill, they're coming in at number 7 in the RPI rankings. But a couple other RPIs just to pass along real quick. In girls volleyball, another sport that's going on right now, Green Canyon ranked 4th behind Orem, Deseret Hills, and Mountain View. It's going to be Desert Hills and Mountain View. So it's Green Canyon number 4, Ridgeline number 5. So really close between those two. Skyview is at 11th, Mountain Crest 13th, Bear River at 21. In 3A, girls volleyball, Logan is coming in at number 14. And in 5A, girls volleyball, Box Hill, they're coming in at number 12. And then finally, girls soccer is in action as well. And Ridgeline girls soccer team, number 1 in 4A. Green Canyon at number 4, Mountain Crest number 5. So some really good soccer being played here in Region 11.
As always, and it just seems that Ridgeline, Green Canyon, Mountain Crest just seem to be trading places between who's just the dominant team that year. And, you know, then their top players are going to either Utah State or BYU. It just depends. I know, I think one of the top soccer players in Cache Valley right now is committed to BYU. But
yes, that's the girl from Green Canyon. Now
I can't remember her name. She's like scoring a bajillion goals right now. I can't remember.
Then number 13 is Skyview. And then there's a bit of a gap. And then Bear River coming in at number 23. Logan coming in at number 9 in the 3A girls soccer RPI. And Box Elder in 5A coming in at number 8.
By the way, looking at the bracket, I pulled it up. John Newbold also sending it in, but I had already started to look at it. So the line for a home field game in 4A football is 16. If you're the 16 seed, you will play in the 16-17 matchup. For a home game, or excuse me, for a bye, the line there is number 8. So Skyview will be fighting for a bye game, and they're currently in that right now. So they would get a bye, and then they'd play the winner of the 9 versus 24 game. And then, so the line for a home game in that first round is 16. The line for a bye after the first round, which second round is still played at home sites. That line is, the last line is 8.
There you go. That's good. Thank you. Got some clarity there. So now we know some of these teams
doing some research, deep dive research here on 106.9 The Fan.
With a major assist to Hurricane John Newbold. Coming from Hurricane John Newbold, yes. 435-339-0321, 3714 texting in.
Got a long one, a lot of history here.
2 top high school quarterbacks in Arizona in 2019 were Spencer Rattler and Jacob Conover. Rattler went on to Oklahoma and is now with the Saints. Conover went on a mission, apparently came back early and walked on at BYU, sat behind Zach Wilson, Gunnar Romney, and Jaron Hall. Then he went to Arizona State. That didn't work out. Then he came to Utah State and was expected to battle Spencer Petras for the quarterback job, but Bryson Barnes took that job over. Now here he is, certified backup quarterback at Utah State, who is probably getting better coaching in Logan than he had anywhere else, and he seems to be profiting from it. Seems like a good person who's been through a lot and hopefully is prepared for this final opportunity of his college career.
I mean, Barnes said that a lot where it's like he was fighting for his opportunity, and finally, I think, getting his best offensive coordinator with Kevin McGivern, where McGivern has designed an excellent offense for the weapons the Utah State has. One of the better offensive coordinator jobs I think we've seen done in a bit here for Utah State, where I don't think they have like the elite talent that some of the past teams had with, like, you look at 2018 where some of, you had Jordan Love and COC Mariner and some really good tight end talent as well. 2021, you have 3 NFL wide receivers on your team. It's like, I could have thrown to those guys, but you had Logan Bonner, who was a pretty good college quarterback.
Yeah, he was a gunslinger.
Yeah, went on to the CFL. So it's like, but I don't think this team has like that elite skill. Like, they have good. They're not bad. They're good. But like, they don't have this like elite level talent, but they're playing like elite level talent. And so maybe I'm discounting him because of that. Maybe I'm attributing things more to the offensive coordinator. Maybe I should be giving the players more credit, but I think they've done a great job. And what I've seen from Conover was, again, better than what I was hearing. I had not heard optimistic things about Utah State's backup quarterback situation, but from what I saw on the field, albeit in 1 quarter small sample size, we saw a good variety of throws. Not every kind of throw he can make, but a decent variety of throws, and Conover did decently well. There was some accurate, there was some inaccurate, there was some good anticipation, and but then a lot of the throws were also easy. He only had like 1 pass where he had to show true anticipation, but when given that one opportunity, he nailed it.
Yeah.
So there's good, not a whole lot of bad. He had 2 incomplete passes where they were passed. Like, he technically had 3, but one of them he was pressured, wide receiver wasn't open.
He's just throwing it away.
He just threw it away. So he had 2 incompletions where he just didn't throw the good pass. Out of essentially 13 opportunities, he had 2 passes that were just not on target. I'd consider that all right.
Right, and I would love nothing more to see him develop and be more consistent and be a solid option at quarterback for Utah State.
Isn't this his final year of eligibility, though?
I believe it has to be. I mean, this where he's been and all the years that he's bounced around in college football, I'm pretty sure this is his final year. And because I saw some things in practice a year ago that it was clear there were other guys ahead of him. And if it got to that point where he needed to lead the team, I was very nervous. But he has clearly been improving and put in a solid effort, a solid performance in the time that he was able to take the field against Vanderbilt. Don't know if we'll see more of him, but there's a possibility that we will. But thank goodness for the bye week that if he is QB1 at Hawaii, he's going to have 2 weeks to prepare and get settled in as a starting quarterback with the ones.
Yeah. One interesting thing that I saw, and it was a pretty big divergence in grading. There's different sites that'll like grade QB performances. Pro Football Focus, they graded they graded Jacob Conover as like a 57 point something out of 100, which is like good for 84th among all quarterbacks last week with at least 10 dropbacks. But then there was like PFSN, which I think is like Pro Football and Sports Network or something like that. They ranked him as the second best quarterback out of anybody in week 5. So it was a really weird divergence in grading. Like, one thought he was like below average, well below average. And one was like, bro, this guy was like just about the best in the entire week. So it was like, I don't know. It's part of why
somewhere in between.
It's part of why I don't always like. A lot of people will report like PFF grades, and I've done that a little bit with my Mountain West Watch articles. But it's like, I don't like to put a lot into those grading, mainly because I can't remember if I've told this story on the show before. Where like I was in the Utah State press box for football, and I was talking with somebody, and I mentioned PFF grades, and an NFL scout who was within earshot, chortled, like snorted at the mentioning of PFF grades as any kind of useful metric. And so I was like, oh, all right. It's like, that's what the NFL thinks. So that's what, people whose job is to literally scout think of PFF grades. And it's like, yeah, that probably fits. Because if you were
that
actually...
grain of salt got a lot bigger.
Yeah, yeah, a lot bigger. So I tend not to use it as gospel. It's more of a, maybe like, here's a bit of an idea, but like, don't be actually ranking quarterbacks by PFF grade.
Thanks for the insight there, 3714. Let's do this. Let's take a time out here in the Full Court Press. Let's get through what happened with the Mountain West. What are the current standings, the scores from the weekend, some surprises throughout the conference. And talking about standings, let's look at the standings for Major League Baseball. The playoffs have been set. The pairings have been announced. We know who's going to be playing where, who's hosting, and take a quick look at what's going on for the postseason for Major League Baseball. Coming up next on the Full Court Press.
Les Olson IT is your source for top quality technology. We carry the latest desktop and laptop PCs in stock, configured to your specific needs, and backed by our award-winning support team. And if your business demands high-performance hardware, we offer custom-built computers that can tackle any task. We also offer great computer accessories like monitors, keyboards, speakers, Fujitsu document scanners, and more. Get a quote today.
Les Olson IT.
S.E. Needham Jewelers is where Utah gets engaged. Couples throughout the state buy their rings from S.E. Needham Jewelers because of our low prices, extensive ring selection, and extraordinary benefits and services with financing available. Go to seneedham.com to learn more. We have many unique and beautiful engagement rings starting at $500. You'll find affordable engagement rings with our integrity price guarantee. This is why we are where Utah gets engaged. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Looking for a luxurious local space to host your next gathering? The Hive Event Center in downtown Logan brings modern elegance to your wedding, private party, or business event. Your guests will be amazed at the glamorous design, and you'll benefit from the advanced tech included in every rental, from DIY parties to full service packages. 255 South Main in Logan behind Beehive Grill. Luxury lives here. The Hive is your place to gather.
Luxury lives here. Luxury lives here. The Hive.
See us online at thehivelogan.com.
Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is thrilled to welcome Dr. Jackson Deere to their team of trusted specialists. Dr. Deere joins Doctors Blotter and Robinette to provide exceptional medical and surgical care for your ears, nose, throat, and related structures of the head and neck. Appointments are now available. Whether it's allergies, hearing, or sinus concerns, Cache Valley ENT is here to help you live the life you deserve. Welcome Dr. Deere to Cache Valley and the team at Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, now serving Logan, Providence, Tremont, Preston, and Montpelier.
The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Taking a look at what happened around the Mountain West Conference over the weekend. Some close games, some surprising games. A few letdown games. So Utah State and Vanderbilt, they played first on the Mountain West schedule. And we talked about that ad nauseum last hour, but the Aggies losing 55-35 on the road at number 18 Vanderbilt, who did move up in the top 25 poll. But then we had a couple of games that were surprises for me. San Diego State and Northern Illinois. After what San Diego State did to Cal, I thought, these guys are going to have some momentum. Their defense got them in a good position. Their offense was okay. I mean, but they blanked Cal. They put 30 on them. They go on the road at Northern Illinois, and it's a field goal fest. And they win 6-3. It's like, where did that offense go? Where did the defense turning to offense go? It just didn't really happen for the Aztecs. Of course, they got the win, but it was not pretty at all. A big rivalry game, big showdown in Albuquerque, New Mexico and New Mexico State. Big crowd, a lot of energy, a lot of hype, and the Lobos get another win, 38-20. They're now 3-1 on the season.
Yeah,
And so this New Mexico team, there's a lot of hype building for this team and what Coach Eck is doing there in Albuquerque.
Yeah, I think justifiably so. I think Utah State and New Mexico are in pretty similar positions where maybe they don't have like a marquee win, but they are playing much better than everyone thought they'd be preseason. There were people that had New Mexico in like the bottom 5 or just about there preseason. Thought they're going to be an awful football team. They've not been an awful football team. They've been good. They've had some, maybe iffy or closer than expected, like the Northern or the Idaho State one was closer. But they beat up UCLA. I know UCLA is winless, and Idaho State is like winless against Division I teams. Well, I didn't check on what they did this week, but still, you beat UCLA 35-10. That was good. You beat New Mexico State by 18 points. So, like, New Mexico's playing well. Like, they're playing well on offense, playing well on defense, and you have to like where things are going if you're in New Mexico, where bowl game is looking pretty likely for them. I mean, they're halfway there, and you've got more winnable games upcoming. You got Nevada. You've got a big one against Utah State that's looking winnable to them. Colorado State Air Force. Like, that's 4 winnable games, not to mention San Jose. 4 or 5 very winnable games for New Mexico. If they don't make it to bowl eligibility, that would be pretty devastating at this point, given how well they've played so far.
Conference game between Hawaii and Air Force. Hawaii went up first. They never really relented the lead, but Air Force made it interesting. For those who were in attendance, I hope you stuck around for the fourth quarter. 41 points combined between the two teams in the fourth quarter. Every time Air Force would score, Hawaii would answer to always stay ahead. But Hawaii wins it 44-35. Micah Alejado threw for 457 yards in that win for the Warriors.
And this game has me both worried and, I don't know if excited is the right word, but like you look at that Hawaii offense. They missed Alejado for a couple of weeks. The offense did okay without him. Mind you, I think they still only scored like 23 points against Stanford, although Alejado was limping on, he was almost, I don't know if limping on one leg. He basically didn't have one leg for like half that
around,
game.
Yeah.
And so they still put up those points with him in at quarterback. But, you look at the way they can put up points. I know that Air Force defense is looking pretty shaky. 49, giving up 49 to Utah State, 40, the same to Boise, and then 44 to Hawaii. That's not a good Air Force defense. But then you look at, so Hawaii is going to put up a lot of points against that. Maybe Utah State can do a little bit better. But then you look at Hawaii's defense. They've been kind of up and down at times. Air Force's offense looks pretty good. Liam Zarka's doing some things that we've not seen Air Force quarterbacks do for a while. I think he was the first quarterback in like 3+ years to throw for like 240+ yards. That was last week. And then he upped himself again by throwing for 278 this week.
Yeah.
And he ran for $139. He's kind of
crazy, quietly
been one of the most productive quarterbacks in just total yards in general for anyone in the Mountain West. But yeah, this is going to make that Hawaii game interesting. Hawaii's coming in 4-2. They're getting a bye as well. So Utah State, even though they're on a bye, they're not getting that advantage over Hawaii. Both teams get a bye. That's going to be the case with both of Utah State's byes, because I think they have a bye before the Nevada game. I think it's either before the Nevada game or before Fresno State. I suddenly can't remember, but both teams that they play after a bye also have a bye that same week. So Utah State's not going to have any advantage over Hawaii in having played a bye, or in having played a bye, having
an open
week before this game. But Utah State's going to benefit regardless in getting healthier and maybe having some time to work Jacob Conover into the offense if they need to do so. But yeah, it's going to be a tough Hawaii team.
Colorado State takes on Washington State, and the Rams have made a change at the quarterback. And didn't really have much different outcome there. Washington State wins that one 20-3. Colorado State just like we warned earlier in the season, they're kind of fool's gold, and they've struggled so far this year. Then the other game that was, I think, surprising was San Jose at Stanford. San Jose was in control of this game.
Yeah, I thought they had that game in the bag.
They had this game wrapped up. And then they didn't. Stanford scores 16 fourth quarter points. They rally and end up winning 30-29 to beat the Spartans. And San Jose State has just really kind of struggled in a lot of their games so far this year, just being consistent and learning how to win games.
Remember how I was talking about like Utah State playing defense, and if they let Micah Alejado throw for a bunch of yards, but it'll either be the kind that leads Hawaii to score 50 points or an empty calorie 400-yarder. Walker Eget threw for 473 yards and 3 touchdowns. They scored 29 points. That's the point I was trying to get at earlier. I don't think I explained it very well, but that's what I was kind of getting at with that description. And mind you, Stanford, they threw for 400-plus yards too, and they only got 30 points. Enough to win, but like, you can have these empty calories passing yards. Of course, I think the main reason is because these two teams combined for 88 yards of rushing. Like, you know, this
not great.
Yes, this is the game that running forgot. There's no running in this game at all. All the passing, 5 100-yard receivers, and nobody ran for more than 50 yards.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing.
Bonkers. And then finally, it was Boise State hosting App State. Broncos were in control the whole game.
Yeah, this is a game where they needed to look
Not
good.
close, 47-14.
Yeah. They needed to look good in this game, and they did. That's the thing. That's the main takeaway from this game. They needed to look good. They did look good. Broncos are looking like the best team in the conference once again.
Yes. One other quick note to pass along. Well, maybe we'll get into this tomorrow because we were kind of running out of time. The Utah State women's basketball schedule released.
Yeah, if you want the details, they're on Cash Rally Daily already. We'll give it the time in depth that it deserves. A little more tomorrow as we work into our bye week topic.
But maybe just topics. Speaking of buys, the baseball playoff bracket is set. The pairings are set. There are 4 teams that do have buys: the Mariners and the Blue Jays in the American League, the Phillies and the Brewers in the National League. But this sets up for some pretty interesting and spicy matchups. Tigers will play the Guardians starting in Cleveland. The Red Sox and Yankees square off. Great historic rivalry there.
Are these one-game series in this first round?
Wild card series, no. Wait, yes, you're right. It's a best of 3.
Well, is it best of 3 in round 1, best of 5, and then best of 7?
I should know better.
You should. You're a baseball fan.
I know. Suddenly, my mind is.
I know it's 7 in the league championship and World Series. I don't know, and I think pretty sure it was best of 5 at some point.
Because the division championships, those begin on October 4th, so that's coming up this weekend. But in the National League, it's the Dodgers and the Reds, and then the Cubs and the Padres. So that's your playoff bracket for Major League Baseball getting underway tomorrow. Tomorrow morning is the first game that begins at 11 a.m. with the Tigers and the Guardians. And then games will happen throughout the day. The last one to begin will be the Reds at the Dodgers at 7 o'clock. All games on ESPN, although the Cubs and Padres game will be on ABC.
Gotta love having a playoff baseball game, one of the premier sporting leagues in the world. 11 a.m. on a Tuesday.
Baseball does that a lot, and they fill the stadium.
I guess.
A lot of people will play hooky to go watch their favorite baseball team.
That's true, but you can probably get more people if you're willing to just play at night. Mind you, it seems like they have to do a quadruple header on like ESPN and ABC, but so I guess that's how you get all the games in one day. Is somebody's got to play at 11 a.m. But
yeah, so it's wild card beginning first, and so those games are Tuesday and Wednesday in the best of 3. So games 3, if necessary, will be on Thursday, and then divisional rounds will begin on Saturday. Quick timeout. When we come back, how did we do on Pick 6? We'll reveal how we predicted things would happen over the weekend and how close we got to hitting it on point. And, of course, if you want to chime in, always love to hear from you as well. 435-339-0321.
Cold weather is here, which means you'll be using your gas fireplace again. Let Advanced Fireplace and Stove, the 4-time Best of Northern Utah Gold Medal winner, help you get it ready for those cold Cache Valley winters. Schedule a service call with one of their service pros today and receive 20% off if you mention this ad. If you're building a new home, Advanced Fireplace and Stove can design and install a Heat and Glow fireplace. From traditional to modern, Heat and Glow has something for every design and every budget. Find out more at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
This is Jordan with Primrose Home Care and Hospice. As I visit with people on a regular basis, I see many things we can help with. Recent falls, balance training, knee, shoulder, and hip surgeries, memory loss, housekeeping, help with medications, and that's not all. We at Primrose offer the best care in any situation. A great example of this is our preventative care program. While working with your doctor and using our personal approach, we can help prevent many of these situations. For more explanation, visit primrosecare.com or call me at 787-1369. Primrose Home Care and Hospice. We're your home team.
Old McDarrell has a farm, an appliance farm.
With down-home country prices and big city selection.
E-I-E-I-O. When you're looking for a friendly spot to drive a little and save a lot, hey, Old McDarrell has a farm, an appliance farm. No overhead, but lots of country charm. See Darrell's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A few years ago, I saw this sign hanging in a gas station. It said price, quality, service. Pick 2 out of the 3. Now, it's funny, and I did laugh, but at My Mattress, we don't even want to do business unless we can do all 3. Price, quality, and service. We have a 90-day sleep guarantee, 90-day price guarantee, and we will answer the phone if you have a warranty concern. At My Mattress, we deliver, we have financing, we strive to be price, quality, and service every day. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
The Aggies, the Jazz, the high schools, the full court press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Eric Frandsen, Jason Walker. 435-339-0321 if you want to chime in on the Young Power Sports of Logan text line. Covering a lot of different topics today. And let's see how well we did in trying to predict what would happen this past weekend with Pick 6. I had 3 lines. Jason had 3 lines. Jason won it last week, so we had the tiebreaker. Let's see if he continues in the winning chair or if I get to take it back.
All right, let's find out. So starting off with the line I set, Utah State sacks allowed against Vanderbilt. I set the line at 3.5. You took the under. I took the over. Utah State allowed 3 sacks.
Ooh.
2 on Bryson Barnes, one of which was dubiously called a sack. So honestly, it was probably more like just 2. So especially 2 on Barnes, 1 on Jacob Conover. Next, Diego Pavia, total yards, over under 305.5. We both took the under. And we were both very wrong. He had an even 400, 321 in the air, 79 on the ground. So it stays 1-0 to you. Then Logan, minus 5.5 over Union. You took the over, and I decided to be a contrarian because I didn't want to pick the same thing. I really should have because Logan breezed by in that game, 31-10, as Logan covered that spread that I set there. So you're up 2-0 heading into the lines that you set. Jordan Love, passing yards, over under 265.5. I took the under, you took the over, and he went way over. 337 passing yards along with his 3 touchdowns. So you're up 3-0, Eric. Things are not going well for me. Combined rushing yards for Bryson Barnes and Diego Pavia. You set the line at 135.5. I took the under, you took the over. They combined for 127. Barnes had 48, and as I mentioned, Pavia had 79. And then Penn State, minus 3.5 over Oregon. You took Penn State, I took Oregon, and it was the Ducks who ended up winning that game in overtime. An interception to seal that one late. Despite the fact that they got 2 in a row, it does not change anything. You win 3-2.
Ooh, it was close.
I would have got the tiebreaker too.
Oh.
So you skated by there.
Good thing it didn't come to that.
Yeah, good thing. And the tiebreaker was San Diego State minus 1.5 over Northern Illinois, which they covered by just about the thinnest of margins in that 6-3 game, which was, that's interesting with San Diego State, where they're Their defense is the best in the conference, and I don't hesitate in saying that. But their offense might be among the worst in the conference. So going to be a very interesting season for San Diego State and a lot of low-scoring games, I think, for them for the most part.
Yeah, really weird game for them, especially following what they did to Cal. But
in Cal, their offense only scored 20 points. They got 14 off of their defense.
2
so it's like
touchdowns.
that was more of their defense. They just scored with their defense to make their offense look a little bit better. When you just look at the score real quick. So San Diego State's going to be interesting. It's almost a shame that the Aggies won't play them this year. But San Diego State probably going to be up there in the standings, maybe similar to Utah State, where they're going to be in contention, but they're probably going to just lose a lot of those key games. Because Utah State, they could beat Hawaii and New Mexico and San Jose and Nevada and all those, but are they going to beat UNLV, Boise, and Fresno? I don't think they're going to beat all those. I don't think they're going to beat 2 of them. San Diego State may be similar, where they win a lot of their key games against these lesser teams in the conference. I don't know if they dodge any of UNLV, Boise, or Fresno. I haven't checked their schedule in the last couple of weeks, but at least in the last week. But they could have a similar situation where they could just end up missing mostly on tiebreakers.
San Diego State's remaining schedule versus Colorado State, at Nevada, at Fresno State, versus Wyoming, at Hawaii, versus Boise State, versus San Jose, at New Mexico.
So they do not
play UNLV.
So we'll see. Those games against Boise and Fresno, I think, will be the biggest ones. I'd probably have them favored in just about every other game besides those two.
Yeah, their defense is definitely going to give them a chance in every game.
Yeah, definitely.
We got just a few more minutes here on the show. Let's actually quickly, just the Utah State women's basketball schedule was released today. Their conference schedule released, and the men's conference schedule was released last week or 2 weeks ago. But
I think it was early last week.
The women's basketball team now releasing their conference schedule, and now looking at their full schedule now put together. You look at their non-conference and their conference slate all put together. Starts with an exhibition game against San Francisco State on October 30th. But there's a couple of interesting things that stand out in this schedule. The fact that they have once again, another big gap in their schedule. Last year it was a month. This year it's almost a month from late November into December. And then for home games. But then you look at another interesting note on the schedule is that when they play Wyoming in back-to-back situations on the schedule, at Laramie on January 21st and then in Logan on January 24th.
Yeah, just kind of weird, but sometimes that's a scheduling quirk that you're going to end up with. I know I've said it repeatedly. I do not envy schedule makers just because the job of putting this together without having something like that pop up, like, it's hard. Like, it's not something that's easy to do. So you try your best. Utah State gets a bit of a quirk there. But overall, I think it's a good schedule for the most part. The non-conference is going to test them. They're going to play some really tough teams. They're going to be on the road for a lot of games. That stretch when they're at Oregon, at Loyola Marymount, at San Diego, it's going to be tough being on the road and playing some tough teams like Oregon. And they're also going to be at Oregon State. But they've got some winnable games in this non-conference. CSU Bakersfield, Omaha. They got Stanislaus State. That is too many S's. And then, at San Diego, even though it's on the road, that's a team I think they can handle, especially if Utah State is improved as I'm hoping they'll be. I keep hyping them up. I'm really starting to believe this year. I think they should be good. But yeah, and you also got the University of Utah coming to the Spectrum. First time since, I wrote it in the article and I can't remember, 2017 it was?
Wow.
Yeah, first time that the Utes have visited Logan since 2017.
And that'll be on November 7th.
And November 7th. That is their season opener. They play an exhibition against San Francisco State. The men's team playing San Francisco, women playing San Francisco State.
Yeah, not to be confused. But that's going to do it for us tonight here in the Full Court Press. You can get more details on their schedule on CashValleyDaily.com. Have a great night, everybody. We'll be back at it again tomorrow here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM, streaming on 1069thefan.com and the 1069 The Fan mobile app.
Sports Talk Radio, KLGN Logan, 1069 FM, 1390 AM, and online at 1069thefan.com.